Welcome back to our channel. Comprehensive History of the 1971 5-cent coin Jefferson Nickel. Introduction. The 1971 5-cent coin, commonly known as the Jefferson Nickel, represents an important piece of American numismatic history. This coin was minted during a transitional period in U.S. coinage when the nation was moving away from silver and circulation coins and adapting to economic challenges of the early 1970s. While appearing ordinary at first glance, the 1971 Jefferson Nickel carries significant historical context related to American monetary policy, economic conditions, and the broader numismatic landscape of the era. The Jefferson Nickel series itself dates back to 1938 when it replaced the Buffalo nickel design. By 1971, the nickel had been in production for over 3 decades with Felix Schlag's original design, making it a familiar sight in American pockets and cash registers. This document explores the comprehensive story of the 1971 Jefferson Nickel, from its production specifics and physical characteristics to its historical context and significance to collectors' physical characteristics and design elements. Basic specifications. The 1971 Jefferson Nickel maintained the standard specifications established for the 5-cent piece. Diameter 21.2 millimeters, 0.835 inches. Weight 5.0 grams. Composition 75% copper, 25% nickel over a pure copper core. Edge plain, smooth shape, round obverse design. The obverse front of the 1971 Jefferson Nickel features a left-facing profile portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the 3rd President of the United States. This design was created by sculptor Felix Schlag, who won a competition in 1938. To design the new 5-cent piece, the portrait was based on a marble bust of Jefferson, created by sculptor Jean-Antoine Dong. Key elements on the obverse include the profile portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the word liberty inscribed to the left of Jefferson's portrait, the motto "In God We Trust" to the right. The date 1971 appears below Jefferson's bust. Reverse design. The reverse backside of the 1971 nickel depicts Monticello Jefferson's historic home near Charlottesville, Virginia. This neoclassical mansion was designed by Jefferson himself, reflecting his interest in architecture and his admiration for classical design elements. Key elements on the reverse include a front view of Monticello with its distinctive dome. The inscription "Monticello" appears below the building. E pluribus unum, out of many one appears above. The denomination 5 cents is at the bottom. United States of America curves around the top edge. Production details, mint facilities, and mintage figures. The 1971 nickel was produced at U.S. Mint facilities. Philadelphia Mint. The Philadelphia Mint produced 106,884,000 nickels in 1971. These coins do not carry a mint mark, which is standard for Philadelphia minted nickels from this period. Denver Mint. The Denver Mint struck 316,144,800 nickels in 1971. These coins carry a D mint mark located on the obverse to the right of Jefferson's portrait. Below the date, the combined mintage for 1971 nickels was 423,028,800 pieces, a relatively substantial production run that reflected the ongoing need for circulating coinage in the economy. Minting process. The 1971 Jefferson nickels were struck using the following process. Planchet preparation. Copper nickel blanks called plankets were prepared with a proper metallic composition, 75% copper, 25% nickel, and weight 5.0 grams. Striking. The prepared plankets were fed into coin presses where they were struck between 2 dies, one bearing the obverse design, the other the reverse. Under tremendous pressure, quality control samples were regularly examined to ensure proper striking weight and dimensions. Distribution. After minting, coins were counted, bagged, and shipped to Federal Reserve banks for distribution into circulation. Historical context of 1971 economic conditions. In 1971, The year 1971 was marked by significant economic challenges in the United States. Inflation. The U.S. was experiencing increasing inflation with the Consumer Price Index rising at concerning rates, wage, and price controls. In August 1971, President Richard Nixon announced a 90-day freeze on wages and prices as part of his new economic policy and unprecedented peacetime measure gold standard abandonment. Most significantly, for monetary policy, on August 15, 1971, President Nixon announced that the United States would no longer convert dollars to gold at a fixed value, effectively ending the Bretton Woods system of international financial exchange and removing the U.S. from the gold standard. Dollar devaluation. By December 1971, the Smithsonian Agreement devalued the dollar and attempted to create a new system of fixed exchange rates without gold backing. These economic conditions had a direct impact on U.S. coinage, as inflation had already driven the intrinsic metal value of silver coins above their face value, leading to the removal of silver from dimes and quarters in 1965 and reduction in half dollars by 1971 coinage context. The 1971 nickel was produced during a transitional period in American coinage, post-silver transition. By 1971, the U.S. Mint had completed its transition away from silver and circulating coinage. Dimes and quarters had been converted to copper-nickel-clad composition in 1965, and half dollars had been reduced to 40%. Silver in 1965 and then to copper-nickel-clad in 1971. Coin shortage recovery. The mid-1960s had seen a significant coin shortage in the United States, prompted partly by silver hoarding. By 1971, mint production had stabilized to meet circulation needs. Eisenhower dollar introduction. 1971 marked the introduction of the Eisenhower dollar, the first dollar coin issued since the peace dollar ended in 1935. Design consistency. The Jefferson Nickel design had remained largely unchanged since its introduction in 1938, making it one of the most consistent U.S. coin designs in circulation. Political and cultural backdrop. The broader historical context of 1971 includes several notable events and trends that formed the backdrop for the production of this coin. Vietnam War. The United States was still deeply involved in the Vietnam War, though troop withdrawals had begun. Cold War. The Cold War with the Soviet Union continued to shape American policy and society. Space exploration. The Apollo 14 and Apollo 15 missions to the Moon took place in 1971, continuing America's space program. Technology advances. The first microprocessor, the Intel 4004, was released in 1971, beginning the microcomputer revolution. Environmental awareness. The environmental movement was gaining momentum with the establishment of the Environmental Protection Agency the previous year. Numismatic significance. Collectability factors. The 1971 Jefferson Nickel has several factors that determine its collectability. Abundance. With over 423 million pieces minted, the 1971 nickel is not rare in circulated condition, making it accessible to beginning collectors. Condition. Rarity. While common in circulated grades, truly pristine examples in gem uncirculated condition MS65 and above are more challenging to find and command premium prices. Full steps designation. A premium designation for Jefferson nickels is full steps, referring to the complete visibility of the steps leading to Monticello's entrance on the River Sea. To striking limitations, many 1971 nickels lack this detail, making full steps examples particularly desirable. Die varieties. Some 1971 nickels exhibit interesting die varieties, or errors which specialists actively seek value and market trends. The value of 1971 Jefferson nickels varies based on conditions. Circulated examples. In worn condition, most 1971 nickels are worth their face value of 5 cents, though some dealers might pay a small premium for well-preserved circulated examples. Uncirculated examples. In mint state condition MS60 to MS631971, nickels typically sell for $1–3. Gem examples in gem. Uncirculated condition MS65 and above values increase to $10–30. Full steps premium nickels with a full steps designation can command significant premiums, particularly for the Philadelphia no mint mark issue, which is scarcer. With this feature than the Denver mint coins market trends over the decades since 1971, the value of these nickels has generally tracked inflation for circulated examples, while high-grade specimens have seen more appreciation, as the population of pristine examples naturally decreases over time. Error varieties and special issues known error types. Several error varieties are known to exist among 1971 Jefferson nickels. Double die errors. Some 1971 nickels show doubling in the date or inscriptions due to die misalignment during the hubbing process. Off-center strikes coins struck off-center where the design is not properly centered on the planchet. Clipped plankets. Coins struck on plankets with missing portions due to improper blanking. Wrong planchet errors. Occasionally, nickels were struck on plankets intended for other denominations such as cents or dimes. Die cracks and cuds. Late-state dies sometimes developed cracks that appear as raised lines on the coins or larger raised areas called cuds. Notable specific varieties. Some specific varieties of the 1971 nickel that are sought by collectors include 1971 doubled die. Obverse shows doubling most notably in the date and inscriptions. 1971 D doubled die reverse exhibits doubling in the Monticello building and inscriptions. 1971 floating roof, a die polishing variant where part of the roof of Monticello appears disconnected from the building. 1971 3 to 1/2 steps, a striking variety where only 3.5 steps are visible on Monticello preservation and grading standards. The 1971 Jefferson nickel, like other modern U.S. coins, is graded on the 70-point Sheldon scale with these key grade points. About good AG3 heavily worn with the main design elements barely visible but identifiable. Good G for heavily worn with the design clear but lacking details. Very good VG8 worn with some detail visible in the main design elements. Fine F1 to moderate wear with more detail visible. Very fine VF20 to VF30. Light to moderate wear with good detail. Extremely fine EF40 to EF45. Light wear with nearly complete detail. About uncirculated O-50 to AU58. Minimal wear with full detail and some luster. Mint state MS60 to MS70. No wear ranging from basic uncirculated MS60 to perfect MS70. For Jefferson nickels, the full steps designation is an important additional consideration. With these recognized categories, full steps 5FS, all 5 steps at the base of Monticello are completely separated and distinct. Full steps 6FS, all 6 steps are completely visible with full separation. Preservation methods. Proper preservation of 1971 Jefferson nickels involves several best practices. Handling. Always handle coins by their edges to avoid transferring oils and contaminants to the surfaces. Storage options. Coin folders and albums provide organization but may allow some contact with surfaces. Mylar flips. Inert plastic holders that provide good protection. PCGs. NGC slabs. Professional grading service holders that offer maximum protection. Airtight holders. Capsules that seal out air and contaminants. Environmental considerations. Avoid exposure to humid conditions. Prevent contact with potentially corrosive materials. Store away from extreme temperature fluctuations. Keep away from direct sunlight, which can cause toning over time. Cleaning. Professional numismatists generally advise against cleaning coins, as improper cleaning can significantly reduce value. Natural toning is often desirable to collectors. Historical evolution of the Jefferson nickel design origins. 1938. The Jefferson nickel design originated from a public competition held by the U.S. Mint in 1938. Competition background. The competition was announced to replace the Buffalo nickel. design which had been in use since 1913 but was difficult to strike properly and wore quickly in circulation. Felix Schlag's winning design, German-born sculptor Felix Schlag, won the competition, with his portrait of Jefferson based on the Udong bust and his depiction of Monticello. Initial modifications before production, the mint required Schlag to make several modifications to his original design, particularly to the depiction of Monticello, which was originally shown from an angular perspective but was changed to a straight-on-view design. Modifications through 1971. Between 1938 and 1971, the Jefferson Nickel underwent several subtle modifications. 1939. Modifications. The most significant early change was an enhancement to the steps of Monticello to make them more visible. 19 for 2, 19 for 5. Wartime composition. During World War II, 1942 to 1945, nickels were produced in a silver-copper-manganese alloy to conserve nickel for the war effort. These war nickels featured a large mint mark above the dome of Monticello. 1946 returned to standard composition. The original copper-nickel composition returned after the war. 1966 designers' initials. Felix Schlag's initials FS were added to the coin in 1966, appearing at the base of Jefferson's bust. Die preparation improvements throughout the decades. The mint made technical improvements to die preparation, though these did not substantially alter the design. By 1971, the Jefferson Nickel design had remained remarkably consistent for over 3 decades, making it one of the most stable designs in American coinage. The 1971 nickel in popular culture and education. Educational value. The 1971 Jefferson Nickel holds educational value in several contexts. Numismatic education. As an accessible and affordable coin, the 1971 nickel serves as an entry point for many beginning collectors, teaching basics of mint marks, coin grading, and design elements. Historical education. The coin connects students to Thomas Jefferson and his contributions to American history, as well as to Monticello as an architectural and historical landmark. Economic education. The 1971 nickel, produced during a time of significant monetary policy changes, can illustrate concepts of inflation, currency valuation, and the relationship between a coin's face value and its metal content. Metallurgical education. The copper-nickel composition provides an opportunity to discuss metal properties, alloys, and industrial applications. Presence in publications and media. The 1971 Jefferson Nickel appears in various numismatic publications and media. Coin catalogs. Standard references like the Red Book, a guidebook of United States coins, include information on the 1971 nickel's mintage varieties and value ranges. Collector publications. Periodicals such as Coin World and Numismatic News have featured articles about Jefferson nickels, including the 1971 issue. Online resources. Numerous websites, forums, and YouTube channels discuss Jefferson nickels, including specific information about the 1971 issue. Auction appearances. High-grade specimens of 1971 nickels occasionally appear in major numismatic auctions, particularly those with the full steps designation. Comparison with other years and denominations. Comparison with other Jefferson Nickel years. The 1971 Jefferson Nickel can be compared with other years in the series. Mintage comparison. The 1971 combined mintage of approximately 423 million pieces was moderate for the era, higher than some years like 1968, with 311 million, but lower than others like 1964, with 1.2 billion. Key dates comparison. Unlike scarce dates such as the 1939 D1950D or the wartime silver issues, the 1971 is considered a common date. Strike quality comparison. The 1971 issues, particularly from Philadelphia, are known to often have weaker strikes compared to some earlier periods, making full steps examples relatively scarce. Design consistency. The 1971 nickel maintains the same basic design as other Jefferson nickels from 1938 through 2003. before the westward journey design changes began in 2004. Comparison with other 1971 U.S. coins. When compared with other U.S. coins produced in 1971. Cent Lincoln 1971. Lincoln cents had a much higher mintage, over 3 billion combined, and continued. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design introduced in 1959. Dime Roosevelt 1971. Roosevelt dimes maintained their copper nickel-clad composition introduced in 1965, with a combined mintage of approximately 731 million. Quarter Washington 1971. Washington quarters also used the copper nickel-clad composition with about 372 million produced. Half-dollar Kennedy 1971 marked the first year of copper nickel-clad composition for the Kennedy half-dollar, ending the 40% silver content used from 1965 to 1970. Eisenhower 1971 introduced the Eisenhower dollar, the first dollar coin produced since 1935, available in both copper nickel-clad for circulation and 40% silver for collectors. The changing role of the nickel in American commerce purchasing power over time. The purchasing power of the 5-cent piece has changed dramatically since 1971. 1971 purchasing power. In 1971, a nickel could buy small items like a candy bar, a small pencil, or contribute significantly toward a loaf of bread, which cost about 25 cents, or a gallon of gasoline, around 36 cents. Inflation impact. Due to inflation, the purchasing power of the nickel has decreased substantially. The 5 cents of 1971 would be equivalent to approximately 37 cents in 2025 dollars cost to face value ratio. In 1971, the metal value of a nickel was well below its face value by the early 21st century. Fluctuations in metal markets occasionally pushed the melt value of the copper and nickel in the coin close to or even above its face value. Role in daily transactions. The role of the nickel in commerce has evolved since 1971. Vending machines. In 1971, nickels were essential for vending machines, payphones, and other small purchases. Many vending machines sold items for a nickel or required nickels as part of larger denomination purchases. Cash registers. Nickels were a standard component of cash drawer transactions used for making change. Transition to electronic payments. As electronic payment methods have increased in popularity since 1971, the importance of physical coins like the nickel in daily commerce has gradually decreased. Modern usage, while still in circulation, nickels today are often accumulated rather than actively used in transactions, with many consumers preferring to use electronic payments or larger denominations. Legacy and future of the 5-cent coin design changes since 1971. The Jefferson nickel has undergone significant design changes since 1971 to 004 to 005 Westward Journey series. To commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition, the reverse design was temporarily changed to feature images related to the expedition. 2006. Redesign. A new forward-facing portrait of Jefferson by Jamie Franke was adopted for the obverse, along with a new depiction of Monticello on the reverse. Modern adaptations. The Mint has made ongoing technical adjustments to improve striking quality and durability. Debates about the future of the denomination. The 5-cent coin has faced questions about its future production cost. Concerns by the early 21st century. The cost to produce a nickel sometimes exceeded its face value, raising questions about the economic viability of continued production. Alternative compositions. The U.S. Mint has explored alternative metal compositions to reduce production costs while maintaining the coin's appearance and electromagnetic properties. Elimination proposals. Some economists and policy analysts have proposed eliminating the denomination entirely, arguing that it has outlived its usefulness in an increasingly electronic economy. Preservation arguments. Others contend that the nickel remains an important part of American commerce and culture. particularly for cash-dependent populations and exactness in transactions. Collecting strategies for 1971. Nickels building a collection. Several approaches exist for collecting 1971 Jefferson Nickel's mint mark collection. Obtaining both the Philadelphia no mint mark and Denver D issues in comparable grades condition set, assembling examples in various grades from circulated to gem uncirculated to demonstrate how the coin's appearance changes with wear, error, and variety hunting. Searching for double dies off centers and other interesting error varieties from 1971 full steps pursuit. Focusing on finding examples with fully struck steps on Monticello, particularly challenging for the Philadelphia issue original roll collecting. Some collectors preserve original bank-wrapped rolls of 1971 Nickels as they left the mint, finding examples methods for acquiring 1971 Jefferson Nickels include circulation searching, the less common in circulation than they once were. 1971 Nickels can still be found in pocket change and bank rolls. Dealer purchases. Coin dealers often carry common date Jefferson Nickels, including 1971 issues, particularly in higher grades. Online marketplaces, websites like eBay, Heritage Auctions, and specialized coin selling platforms offer 1971 Nickels in various grades. Coin shows. In-person coin shows provide opportunities to examine coins before purchase and to find varieties not commonly listed online. Collector exchanges. Numismatic clubs and organizations facilitate exchanges between collectors. Technical aspects of production, die preparation, and coin striking. The production of 1971 Jefferson Nickels involved several technical steps. Master die creation. The original design was used to create a master die, which would then be used to create working hubs. Working hub production. The master die was used to create working hubs, which in turn created working dies. Working die preparation. The working dies were heat treated to harden them for the striking process. Prepared plankets were fed into coin presses where they were struck between the obverse and reverse dies under tons of pressure. Strike characteristics. The striking pressure and condition of the dies affected the quality of detail on the finished coins, particularly the steps of Monticello. Quality control measures. The U.S. Mint employed various quality control procedures for 1971 nickel production. Visual inspection. Sample coins were regularly examined for striking quality and defects. Weight verification. Random samples were weighed to ensure they met the 5.0 gram standard. Composition testing. Periodic testing confirmed the proper copper-nickel alloy was maintained. Die monitoring. Dies were regularly inspected for wear and damage, being replaced when necessary to maintain quality. Error containment. When significant errors were detected, efforts were made to prevent their release, though many minor varieties still entered circulation. The 1971 nickel in international context. Comparison with foreign 5-cent coins. The 1971 U.S. Jefferson nickel can be compared with contemporary 5-cent coins from other nations. Canadian nickel. The 1971 Canadian 5-cent coin featured a beaver design on the reverse and Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. Unlike the U.S. version, it was made of pure nickel. Australian 5-cent piece. Australia's decimal currency system included a 5-cent coin featuring an echidna on the reverse and Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, composed of cupro-nickel. New Zealand 5-cent coin. New Zealand's 5-cent piece depicted a tuatara lizard on the reverse and Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, also made of cupro-nickel. Size comparison. The U.S. nickel was generally larger and heavier than many foreign 5-cent pieces, reflecting different approaches to denomination structures. International collecting interest. The 1971 Jefferson nickel attracts varying levels of interest from international collectors, American coin specialists abroad. Collectors specializing in U.S. coins around the world include the 1971 nickel incomplete date sets of Jefferson Nickels type collectors. international collectors assembling representative examples of world coins. Often include a Jefferson Nickel, though not necessarily the 1971. Issue specifically historical interest the coin's association with Thomas Jefferson, who had significant international influence as a thinker and statesman, gives it appeal beyond U.S. borders. Academic interest. Numismatic researchers worldwide studying coin production techniques sometimes examine the Jefferson Nickel series, including the 1971 issue. The 1971 nickel as a historical artifact. What the coin tells us about its era as a historical artifact. The 1971 Jefferson Nickel offers insights into its time economic narrative. The continued use of the same design and composition reflects the economic stability of the 5-cent denomination, even as inflation was beginning to accelerate in the early 1970s. Production technology. The striking quality and characteristics of 1971 nickels demonstrate the coin production technology of the period. Design priorities. The maintenance of the Jefferson design reflects the continued reverence for founding fathers in American numismatic iconography circulation patterns. The high mintage figures indicate the significant role of cash transactions in the American economy of 1971 before electronic payments became widespread, preserving monetary history. The preservation of 1971 Jefferson nickels contributes to numismatic history museum collections. Major numismatic museums like the Smithsonian Institution's National Numismatic Collection include examples of 1971 nickels as part of the comprehensive record of American coinage. Numismatic archives. The American Numismatic Association and other organizations maintain archives that include documentation related to the production and distribution of 1971 nickels. Private collections. Individual collectors preserve examples in various states of preservation, ensuring that future generations can study and appreciate these coins. Digital documentation. Online databases and digital archives increasingly document the characteristics and varieties of coins like the 1971 nickel, making this information accessible to researchers worldwide. Conclusion. The 1971 Jefferson nickel, while common in circulation and modest in value for most examples, represents an important piece of American numismatic and economic history. Produced during a pivotal year for U.S. monetary policy, these coins witnessed the end of the Bretton Woods system and the beginning of a new era in global currency relationships. For collectors, the 1971 nickel offers an accessible entry point to numismatics with enough varieties and condition rarities to make it interesting beyond mere date filling. The challenging nature of finding full steps examples, particularly from the Philadelphia Mint, adds a dimension of pursuit that can engage even advanced collectors. As we look back from our vantage point in 2025, the 1971 Jefferson nickel serves as a tangible connection to an earlier era, a small everyday object that passed through countless hands and transactions, bearing the portrait of one of America's founding fathers and the image of his architectural masterpiece. In this unassuming 5-cent piece, we find a microcosm of American history, economics, art, and technology, all within a coin that continues to circulate more than half a century after its production. Thanks for watching my videos, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the bell icon.